The Shield Bearers. For over 300 years, the Frost Valley Keep has stood as an unbreakable wall against the waves of beastmen and undead creatures trying to invade the southeastern regions of the Valskyr. Among its many defenders, the Mist Hunters and Shield Bearers have been known to not only stand on the walls in perpetual vigil, but also help those in need, often lost far in the mist-ridden lands. Descended straight from the resilient warriors of old, the Shield Bearers serve both a dauntless sentinel of Frost Valley Keep and as protectors of all who ever passed through the stronghold's gate. Their martial prowess and toughness made them almost legendary, with the Shield Bearers' unflinching courage in the face of any foe, reminding the inhabitants of the Valskyr that the white bear crest on a thick shield always brings hope to those pursued by the mists. Fengray, son of Orm. Fengray was born in the shadow of Frost Valley Keep, a firstborn son to a weaponsmith father and a shield-bearer mother. From the day he first laid his eyes on a shield-bearer's gear, he knew that one day he would carry the bear shield to protect those in need, his sisters and brothers, his companions, and the common folk trying to make a living in their cold and unforgiving homeland. Now, well over 3 decades later, he is among the most renowned of Frost Valley's sentinels. Like many shield bearers, Fengray has been schooled in the craft of martial combat and taught to always lend his strength to those weaker than him, ever ready to face the enemy, fiercely loyal to his friend and companion. Fengray has prevailed through many battles and skirmishes, always prepared to venture forth with his companions. He has proven his value both as a shield bearer and as a friend to all those who accompany him. The Dawnbreaker Cleric. The Dawnbreakers are a warrior cult of the Dawn Mother, always ready to face off against the malevolent servants of the mists, and more than eager to counter its corrupting influence. More warrior-like than the less militant orders, the warrior clerics of Dawn struggle to appear everywhere the tendrils of the mists manage to reach. Although not entirely uncommon sight in the Valskyr, one cannot say that there are many Dawnbreakers in the cold north. The reason is simple. The Order has suffered many casualties during the long years of struggle, and although it works tirelessly to replenish its ranks, the warrior clerics are by far not numerous. All around the northern kingdoms, it is more and more difficult to see them in battle. And what a sight they are, dealing crippling blows to the undead and bringing their companions back from the edge of death. They are always welcomed by any people who struggle against the darkness or the corrupting influence of the mists. Arani of Svelkar. Arani was brought up in an orphanage under the auspices of the Sisters of Dawn, a female order of scholars and healers, devoted to bringing relief to the suffering. Like many orphan children, after witnessing her hometown burned to the ground by a band of mist-crazed beastmen, she was brought further south and initiated into the order to be taught the arts of healing and restoration. Her life path was once again altered drastically when the small temple she had been assigned to was attacked by a stray raiding party of borderland murderers who managed to bypass the defenses of the Frost Valley Keep. While trying to hide from the pursuit party of mist hunters and shield bearers, the warband decided to take the temple by storm, hold some of the priestess hostages, and make the rest help them elude their pursuers. But the plan failed. The strong Valskyrian blood took over, and Arani managed to call the light of dawn upon her enemies in a key moment, staggering the borderlands and alerting the Frost Valley party of their presence. Her courage and skill did not go unnoticed, and she was offered a new life in the Dawnbreaker cloister, later to return after a full initiation to her homeland to stay as a permanent resident of the Frost Valley Keep. There she learned the punishing aspect of Light's powers and trained with both the clerics and some of the fighters of the keep, including Fengrey, who she first met when the Frost Valley pursuit party came to her and her sister's aid. Shortly after her arrival, she also met Silentia, a young mage who Arani now perceives as both formidable companion and a good friend. The Mist Hunters. Known as versatile warriors and trackers, the Mist Hunters can be found around the known world, always ready to find and eliminate monstrous threats spawned by the mists. Not as specialized as archers of the arcane weave, not as heavily armored as the shield bearers, the Mist Hunters are still able to often succeed where none other could, making up for the lack of arcane abilities with the skill to adapt and work effectively in varied environments and conditions. Unlike the shield bearers of Frost Valley Keep, Mist Hunters are not as much a formal military organization with a single seat of power, as they are a fellowship with a network of companions spread around the known world. This made adapting to the world change by the Mist easier for the Mist Hunters than for anyone else. Elitha, the Mist Huntress. Although born on the southern border of Valskir, Elitha would never stay in one place for longer than a few weeks. Being the eldest daughter of a merchant explorer parents, she'd seen more of the world before she was 8 than most people see within a lifetime. Always self-reliant, headstrong, always taking care of her younger siblings, Elitha nonetheless could not see herself following in her parents' footsteps, especially that she was drawn more to the sword than to the map and coin. With a family background such as this, and a natural skill for the bow and blade, becoming who Elitha is today seemed like almost a formality. After being apprenticed by an elderly mist hunter by the name of Sandrel for merely a few months, she was ready to face enemies of mankind on her own, and merely a few months more made her name recognizable both in Nahar and Valskir. After the cataclysmic events that followed the Battle of Ravencrag, Elitha suddenly found herself far from where she had initially started one of her hunts. The mist took her from the edges of a frozen forest right back to the red sands. However, as it turned out quickly, the same happened to her prey, a young Karathi noblewoman, and a suspected ringleader of a Rim-worshipping cult Elitha is determined to take down. Now, having met some allies, she is more than ready to continue her pursuit. The Name-Bearers. They are called differently around the world, although Bard seems to be the most common name. Singers, storytellers, and performers traveling alone or in troops. They are usually welcomed wherever they go, as especially for those living in smaller settlements. They are a source of information on the outside world, and since the world has become much more volatile of late, the news they carry can be more precious than riches these days. Although well liked almost everywhere, bards are held in especially high esteem in Valskir, as they are perceived as not only entertainers but also keepers of knowledge and messengers of hope. Their accounts of heroic deeds often allow the common people of the cold north to reinvigorate their efforts in facing the horrors of the mists. Also, because of a belief almost universal in Valskir, but also quite common in the rest of the known world, that one is not truly dead. As long as their name and deeds are not forgotten, bards are called name-bearers in Valskir. Indeed, their connection with heroes of old often allow them to tap into a fraction of their power and inspire. Aseke of the Dale. Aseke was born and raised on the road in a traveling troupe of performers. Although she is Valskirian by blood, she has spent most of her life moving from place to place and performing for people everywhere between the free cities in the south, Valskir in the north, and Nar in the east. She has also faced the threat of the mists on more than one occasion. Always cheerful and helpful, Aseke has found many friends around the world. She has on more than on one occasion traveled into the wilds with the shield bearers of Frost Valley or help the myrmidons of Nar hold their ground with a war song. Her voice seems to possess the ability to calm ravenous beasts, instill strength in her allies, and pierce the darkness brought on by the mists. The power she wields made her earn the status of a true name-bearer time and time again, and she is always welcome in the Frost Valley and Hammerhome alike. It has also been said that she has been more than friends with the previous Lord Commander of Frost Valley Keep, and while she has mourned his loss like many others, his passing did little perceivable damage to her character and demeanor. However, those who travel with Aseke have already seen that she exhibits even greater resolve when facing the horrors of the mists, and that the name of the Frost Valley's fallen heroes unlock a power not seen in Aseke by anyone before.